You'll be uncomfortable. It won't be as easy, maybe, but don't take it.
President Trump announcing today a potential link between autism and acetaminophen use during pregnancy. Tonight, we talk with the executive director of the Isaac Foundation to get her take on the announcement.
After a seasonal start to fall, we're talking some summer heat in the days to come.
Plus, a WSU football player recovering after being shot during a party early Sunday morning. Tonight, we have video of the incident. Good evening and thank you for joining us for the KREM 2 Night Report. I'm Mark Hanrahan. It's been a busy night for Spokane City Council passing ordinances on childcare, public health, and the jail budget. Tonight, Council expanding a project with Chaz that provides medicine to people experiencing homelessness. It'll run through July of 2027 to the tune of $1.4 million. Council also approved funding for a daytime navigation center and a street outreach program. The city says this will provide temporary housing and support services for those in need. Council also amended an ordinance adopting a biennial budget to keep up with funding for the jail. Tonight, the council putting in $2 million from the general fund into the Criminal Justice Assistance Fund. They say it's dangerously low, so low that the money from the sales tax isn't going to cover monthly expenses this year. And finally, council passed an ordinance meant to take away permitting barriers so more child care centers can open up in residential neighborhoods. All right, let's talk weather on this Monday night with Chief Meteorologist Jeremy the Goose standing by in the Outdoor Weather Center. Jeremy, the first official day of fall, and you can tell things certainly starting to cool off at night now.
Yeah, and it's happening quick. Temperatures right now have plummeted. We're already back down in the 50s, and to put that in perspective, past couple of weeks, that's been our overnight low. We're already seeing 40s in places like Sandpoint, and those temperatures are just going to keep dropping. For that reason, we are under frost advisories in Northeast Washington and North Idaho for tomorrow morning, basically 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. It potentially is going to be cold enough in some of the valleys outside of city centers that we could see temperatures down in the 30s. Probably not down to freezing, but close enough that we have some frost concerns. That means things like tomatoes could take a hit, some of those more sensitive plants. 40 is likely the overnight low in Sandpoint, mid 40s widespread, low 40s off to the north. But by tomorrow afternoon, we are all back in the upper 70s, 80s for central Washington, and even warmer come Wednesday. Mid to low 80s on Wednesday, similar story on Thursday, and then it looks like we get a little cooler for the weekend, but we're still trending well above those seasonal norms.
Sounds good, Jeremy. We'll check back in with you later in the broadcast. New tonight, Washington Attorney General Nick Brown firing back against the Trump administration's intent to overturn the Roadless Rule Act, established nearly 25 years ago. It's protected national forests from unnecessary road construction and commercial logging. In June, the Trump administration announced its intent to repeal the rule. Now, AG Brown, along with 7 other states, are saying that move would impact millions of acres of public land, including 2 million right here in Washington. Brown goes on to argue the move would threaten wildlife and severely impact tourism revenue. For that full letter, just head to our website, KREM.com. New tonight, the executive director of the Isaac Foundation, which aims to help families impacted by autism spectrum disorder, is reacting to an announcement from the Trump administration. Earlier today, the president announced a possible link between autism and acetaminophen use during pregnancy. KREM 2's Connor McAvoy has more tonight.
Guess who's in charge now? Me. Oh, you're in charge?
Holly Goodman kicks off another after-school meeting for her students at the Isaac Foundation. The nonprofit's designed to bring support to families with members impacted by autism. She started the organization after her late son Isaac was diagnosed with autism when he was born. She says her experience has helped her understand and support others facing the same challenges.
He was my first son with autism. You know, you're always blaming yourself, right? You're looking for what you did wrong.
What parents are worried about doing wrong took center stage with the administration on Monday.
Don't take Tylenol. There's no downside.
As President Donald Trump made his stance clear.
You'll be uncomfortable. It won't be as easy, maybe, but don't take it.
Today, the president, alongside HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., announced the use of acetaminophen, the active ingredient in Tylenol, during pregnancy to the development of autism in children, a link that's been disputed by most in the scientific community. Secretary Kennedy also discussed spreading out children's vaccines.
Because research on the potential link between autism and vaccines has been actively suppressed in the past.
The announcement struck a chord with Goodman, who spent years reading through research on autism. She questions what the administration announced today.
So we've known about autism for all these years. There's all this research has been done, but now you've been hiding these really good researchers that are going to be able to tell us all of the answers.
Goodman's frustrations stem from her own experience. She says she spread out vaccine doses for her second son out of concerns over autism. The result was the same as Isaac's.
So we did an alternate schedule, and he still has autism. And so I think we have to look at genetic factors.
Goodman says in the time since Isaac's death, more research has come to light about autism and still continues to.
I understand that good quality research has been happening for years that is not necessarily giving us all the answers that we want, but at least ruling out some things.
After 18 years of work with the Isaac Foundation and research on autism spectrum disorder, Goodman hopes community members don't make any immediate changes to their or their children's health and take a step back as more information comes to light each day.
Alas, here we are, and we'll just keep doing what we're doing, but hopefully the community will at least be a little sensitive to the fact that we still have to wait for more information to come out for sure.
Connor McAvoy.
Pump the brakes.
KREM 2 News.
The president and administration mentioned several studies from Mount Sinai and the Boston birth cohort. Within those studies, the largest of which was posted in JAMA back in April of 2024. The goal of all these studies was to examine if Tylenol or acetaminophen during pregnancy led to an increase in any intellectual disabilities, autism or ADHD.
The study was done in Sweden and looked at children born in 1995 through 2019 for a total of nearly 2.5 million children. In the study, they controlled for many factors, including the mother's pre-existing conditions, including migraines, rheumatoid arthritis, chronic pain, and infection, 1 year before pregnancy through delivery. This was also a prospective study, meaning they asked moms at their first appointment and every appointment until delivery if they'd taken any Tylenol. This avoids possible recall bias, meaning asking those with a diagnosis if they remember if they took medication while they were pregnant. What they found initially is a 0.09% higher risk of autism until they controlled for siblings. This means they looked at families who had one child with a neurodivergent disability but didn't take Tylenol, and another when they did take Tylenol. In those families, there is likely a genetic component. When sibling control was accounted for, there was no link or association between Tylenol or acetaminophen use in pregnancy and an increased risk of autism.
In other news tonight, we are learning new information about a shooting in Poland over the weekend that ended with a WSU football player in the hospital and the gunman on the run. New within the last few hours, KREM 2 has obtained video of that incident. KREM 2's Cody Proctor brings us more on what we now know.
Sunday morning shooting took place here at the Aspen Heights apartment complex in the hours after the Apple Cup. Since that happened, we've continued to learn more details about what happened that morning, as well as received video showing the moments before it happened.
In this video obtained by WSU's student news team and shared with KREM 2, you can see the large crowd at this off-campus party when a fight breaks out. Court documents identify two of the people involved as WSU football redshirt freshman Sone Falialo and 20-year-old Ja'Cory Buchanan. The fight migrates to the street in seconds and appears to show Falialo holding onto Buchanan. As another man grabs Falialo from behind and we freeze the clip, you can hear the gun go off. Pullman police say they responded right after to find Falialo shot in the abdomen and Buchanan nowhere to be found. Neighbors spoke to KREM off camera, describing the scene afterwards as scary as officers swarmed in and locked down the complex.
It's tragic. It's in absolute contrast to everything that happened at the game.
Court documents say Falialo and two other friends were at the party as security, and the victim and suspect fought earlier that night after court documents show the suspect allegedly assaulted a girl at the party. WSU released a statement confirming, quote, "One of our student athletes was the victim of a shooting that occurred at an off-campus gathering." KREM 2 reached out to the University of Washington to confirm if Buchanan is a student there, but have yet to hear back. Pullman police believe he may be back in the Seattle area since a rental car matching the vehicle description was returned to SeaTac. The arrest warrant's been issued for assault in both the first and fourth degree. Police consider him to be armed and dangerous.
Falialo continues to recover. WSU says his family is here in Pullman with him. As for Buchanan, as of Monday night, the search continues for him. In Pullman, Cody Proctor, KREM 2 News.
All right, don't go to bed just yet. We are learning the identifications of the 4 soldiers killed in a helicopter crash on the west side, how their lives are being honored tonight. But first, a new lawsuit deciding the fate of public education funding in Idaho. That story coming up in just about 90 seconds.